What's good, everybody? Welcome back. We've been gone for a while. This is Culture Core Academy. I'm Ping. This is Caleb. And we're going to do our 2022 year in review.
Yep, we've been gone from here, but that don't mean we've been gone from being in and out of these theaters and watching everything that's went down on the silver screen like we know the rest of y'all have. But now we're here to talk about it and see how everything went down.
Yeah. So we're going to go from top of 2022 to the bottom of 2022. And the top of 2022 is The Batman.
Batman.
Yeah. We have a full review of this movie. Actually, it might have been the last full movie review that we did.
Go back and check it out if you haven't seen it already.
But overall, I think the general consensus here is that we really did like The Batman.
Definitely.
It's a slow burner. It's a good, long, slow burner.
It is. There are times you wonder, could they not have maybe cut a few minutes here or there? But it was a good flick.
In the end, it was worth it.
Yeah, and you know what? I found it to be oddly refreshing, and perhaps it's also because we know the DCEU is in all sort of turmoil right now with their direction and where things are going. But it was kind of nice to be able to watch this movie and kind of appreciate it in its own little bubble because it didn't interact with anything else, and it felt very unattached to the DCEU. And honestly, it was a good thing.
Yeah, it's a very good thing, seeing as this version of the Batman and his villains didn't have some sort of sci-fi OP or Deus Ex Machina, what's with the plot armor. They didn't have all the plot armor that Batman usually has.
Yep. None of that. It was much more gritty or realistic villain. One that had much more concrete motives, I think.
Yeah. Because, when we first saw Christian Bale, he was fighting the Scarecrow, and he was already out of the League of Assassins.
Yep. That's a good point. Shout out to the Pattinson Batman overall. I don't care what some of y'all think about, scream at the clouds and the sky for all I care. I dug it, and one thing that I dug in, Ping also mentioned this as well, is the fact that we're getting kind of a younger version of Bruce Wayne.
Flawed.
Flawed. He's still learning. He's not a year one Batman, but he's not like, a year 20, a year 15.
Yeah.
Christian Bale Batman and Ben Affleck Batman, they kind of represented a Batman in their peak, in their prime.
Yeah.
And this is this Batman that is still very much growing into who they want Batman to become.
Ben Affleck showed up fighting Superman. Superman would have killed Robert Pattinson, any version of Superman.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a good change. You see a bit more of down-to-earth realism with him trying to figure things out. The Batmobile stalls out at one point. When have you ever seen it,
No matter how much money you got in your car, you can solve car problems. You don't have AAA for the Batmobile.
Yeah. Old boy flew into the building and whatnot with the squirrel suit.
I was like, it takes like a weird edgelord person like that, which is one reason I did like this character as well. Is that it takes a weirdo to get in a squirrel suit and try to glide across the city and smack the wall in front of people. Like that happened. But this is an testament to how weird the idea of Batman actually is, and I think I like the caricature that they went for in this version.
Yeah. I think that worked. Overall, I really dug the casting, outside of Pattinson. This is probably my favorite version of a Catwoman that I've seen on screen.
Yeah.
And also Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell pulling out a penguin that, who would have guessed that? Certainly not me.
If you're here to say that the Danny DeVito penguin is better than the Colin Farrell penguin because of nostalgia, I'm not gonna listen to what you have to say. It's probably because it's like Colin Farrell, like he put his foot into this role, the makeup, the freaking like everything, bro.
Yep.
That was crazy. That was probably the craziest part of the movie to me. Is like how they did that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit long, but it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch Jeffrey Wright do anything. So
Hey, that's
I'll watch him
wise
in any
and smart.
movie. Yeah,
Wise and smart cast in there. You know?
He's dope.
It really is. So yeah, overall, very good. And the Nirvana song was in there too. Whatever.
Yeah, they could have done like 1.5 times.
They wore it out. They
really did.
So rolling on from that, we got to the multiverse of madness. We're talking about Doctor Strange.
Yes, sir. Our Benedict Cumberbatch coming back from No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and this is the first MCU movie of 2022. So it's actually itself coming off the back of No Way Home, where they sort of pulled the multiverse open a little bit, but they broke it open in a way to where only some Spider-Man villains and 3 Spider-Man could come through. And, after the events in Loki, this movie actually did the job of truly expanding the Marvel multiverse beyond properties that existed before and ones that don't exist yet, as well as ones that do right now within the current MCU, which is what they've dubbed this as 616.
Yeah,
which is a weird move to me.
Yeah, this is definitely, it is a weird move, but it is definitely a step for them really just fully going ahead and opening the door to the full, we'll call it the realm of potentiality that they have in terms of stories they can tell, who they want to bring in,
I wonder if Marvel will ever get to like doing some Elseworld stuff like DC. That's all they do now.
you know what? I wouldn't be opposed to maybe that's something they do for like in like an animated format, like adult animated content.
Yeah.
Man,
I would watch every bit of it. Yep.
Hey, Foggy, we know you watch these.
Make like a Disney Plus Red, dude.
Hey, there's something to it. There's something to
dude.
it.
I'll pay for it.
Look, Multiverse of Madness itself, it did a pretty good job of things. I mean, they really did an excellent job of leaning into the effects. They knew they had to come through with all that, and they did. They did their due justice there. Scarlet Witch, I dug her presentation. I really liked seeing the Marvel Universe kind of finally give you an element of saying, yeah, we can kind of do a little horror. We can kind of get a little creepy when we want to.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's not,
Still wasn't really any blood.
Yeah,
It was a Sam Raimi movie. Like, everybody's like, yeah, man, Sam Raimi. But I was like, sort of like Sam Raimi in the context of Marvel and MCU. At that, like, because of like a Sam Raimi Deadpool would have been different. That's why I'm worried about this Deadpool 3, but we ain't talking about that right now. But, because that's going to be an MCU. So it's like, are they going to, like, but, all right.
Who knows?
But, like, I enjoyed Wanda's presentation as well. I just don't understand the motivation coming off the resolution of the story from WandaVision. It's like, so she just snapped from reading the Darkhold. Like they only showed her reading the Darkhold in the end of in the post credit scene of WandaVision. So it's like
she couldn't take it anymore. Hey man, Wanda pulled up to a Chick-fil-A one time on a Sunday and it was closed, and that was it, buddy.
She went straight for the Darkhold sauce.
Yeah, she went straight for the Darkhold after that, and I can't fault you on that. I mean, that whole sort of situation of how she got to that point, very flimsy, very frail, and they're just lucky that they had enough other stuff going on. There was enough crazy effects that, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
and not to mention, in this we did get the introduction of a new character. We're talking about America Chavez. And you know what? I personally, I'm a big America Chavez fan from the comic books. Yeah. I would like to have seen her do more, but you know what? I think that's going to come here in the future. Yeah. She's going to be part of a new, younger core, moving the MCU forward that, as we already have seen this year, a lot of y'all, and by y'all, the incel folk, hate, but nobody cares.
Yeah, no one cares. We got something for y'all coming out soon anyway, so y'all just wait y'all's turn.
Yeah.
They sort of fell short in the cameo department in a way. They excelled they excelled and fell short in the same way, where it's like, all right, John Krasinski, dope. Black Bolt, who was Black Bolt on the TV show, dope. Maria Rambeau being Captain Marvel, dope.
Yep.
Captain Carter, dope.
Very cool.
Patrick Stewart.
As Professor X.
Yeah, Professor X dressed up like the cartoon, dope.
Thank you.
But like, Wanda can't fade all of them like that. She's not that good yet.
She did.
I feel like she's not that good yet.
She twizzled Jim's ass. Man.
Because like,
she put Jim's ass into some Twizzlers.
Yeah. How did Professor X not read Doctor Strange's mind when he got there?
Valid point. You got a point.
You know, this Professor X we know. This Patrick Stewart, OG, the one, he made the whole mall sit still after they was in X-Men 2. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's him. I don't care what you say, which version you try to say it. That's him.
All we can clearly conclude from what we saw on the screen was they wasn't ready. They wasn't ready.
So how were they not ready for Wanda when they have him too? They should have freed Strange because they should have known through Charles that Strange was like legit. They should have teamed up with that Strange who gave hands to Thanos in Infinity War 1-on-1 by himself for a second.
No, that's not how it went down though. Not at all.
Okay. All right.
But, hey, this movie did have a lot of, I would say, external pressures and expectations on it.
Yeah.
And maybe it didn't quite meet that, but
it's coming off of No Way Home, which I think is unfair because I think it did a better job of opening the multiverse than No Way Home did because all No Way Home had going for it was nostalgic value to me. Especially with that little Tom Hardy fiasco stuff. I don't know. I could have done without that, Kevin.
Yeah. But, overall, multiverse did a good job of kind of doing this thing. We weren't disappointed walking up out of there.
Yeah.
So we're now moving on to the movie that dropped, the summer movie, if you will, Thor: Love and Thunder.
It was all right. It wasn't bad, though.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Here's the thing. Thor: Love and Thunder, it was, at its best, it was fun. It had some, fun moments and whatnot. We had some nice action scenes here and there. But, yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard not to feel a little let down. You kind of feel like they misused Christian Bale.
Yeah, I feel like it's a waste of Christian Bale.
And yeah, not only because of his acting ability
in a movie like that.
It's also, I also kind of felt it was a waste of their portrayal of Gore, the character itself. Not the best.
Were unnecessary.
Not the best.
Changes were kind of unnecessary, especially since you already have the symbiote in the MCU. You don't even have to name it that. You could have just made it more symbiotic, so you weren't separating it from that because that's there could have already been a symbiote in the MCU. There's already a Spider-Man in the MCU, and you don't have to separate it like y'all doing so much.
Yeah. And, so it's that. I mean, trying to figure out the two Thors, Jane Foster, Lady Thor, if you will, being there.
As much as Christian Bale is misused, I feel like a really short arc for Jane Foster Thor when it could have been she's got much more in the comics and that kind of stuff. Maybe the way the post-credit scene works, that might not be the last we've seen of her. Probably, obviously isn't. Speaking of which, the post-credit scene, y'all made making up characters people's kids as characters and stuff. I guess that's cool, but they don't need to be main ones, sort of yet. Except for the new one, but he's not he is a main one in the comics. I'm talking about the one in Black Panther, but yeah, he's actually in there. But these ones aren't. That's not. Yeah, that's not.
What can I say? I came out of the movie. It's not like I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't feel let down. But it is one of those things where it's as we sit here at the end of the year now, if I think about wanting to watch an old MCU movie again, I don't know if that's one of the ones I would think of. It's not. I can't say it's in the upper tier of the catalog, if you will.
Also, we need y'all to get on the movies. Y'all need to talk to the lady from Black Panther on the rest of the ones when y'all talk about black people's hair, because these wigs y'all be having for Chiwetel Ejiofor and Idris Elba, y'all need to.
Y'all wrong for
I
that.
need to talk to somebody. Like,
You better stop asking Tyler where he getting his from.
because
Okay.
it don't be.
No,
That wasn't good.
just no.
Yeah, moving on.
Moving on, we come back. We get some more activity on the DC side of things.
Some activity, some activity.
Some activity. Finally, after years and years and years of promising that it was coming, Black Adam, or for those of you who prefer to use it, Negro Adam, came onto screens
I
finally.
don't understand why can't it be all Adam? I don't understand why it can't be all Adam. Are they the only atoms that matter? Other atoms matter too. You know, other things happen to other atoms. We don't have a white atom. I just know that. If we had a white atom, things would be equal, but they're not
And
apparently.
you know what? And the Rock will tell you that it doesn't even matter what you think. That's what he would say. Look, you know what? Black Adam, I will. Yeah, I'll give you credit in terms of it delivered as on the terms of trying to be an action-based.
Yeah, actually,
Blockbuster
look great.
film.
It's an aesthetically pleasing movie. It's really good on the visual side. It's a very obvious nod, at least like aesthetically. It's still it's good to see, or it's interesting to see that some of the DCEU is still on a Snyder aesthetic, because this movie looks like 300.
Yeah, especially in the flashback.
Yeah,
Especially in the flashbacks
Yeah.
for sure.
but how long has Rock been cast as like Black Adam? Something like 2007, 2008.
Things will never be the same because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Before any of these movies came out.
I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah, like it was like this is like before like the Edward Norton Hulk.
Like Bleach was like in regular rotation before that big break. You know,
The problem with the story is that I feel like it was written back then too.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe it could have been updated because that is where I'm at. Like the action parts of it were good. You know, you very much get the point that Black Adam is super powerful.
Yeah.
But the story itself,
Like the reveal didn't really pull my heartstrings that much, if you know what I mean. I was like, all right, man, I knew it wasn't. I mean, like, yeah. But I just wanted to come see The Rock beating the hell out of somebody anyway, so I'm just being honest.
yeah, I mean, I shout out to that post credit scene. That was dope. Yeah, I mean,
Reopening.
seeing Cavill Superman is good.
All right, coming up to the last one, and that is, of course, Wakanda Forever, like the sequel to 2018's Black Panther, starring Chadwick Boseman.
Yep.
And we, of course, lost Chadwick Boseman in mid to late 2020.
Rest in peace.
Yes. This movie is coming off the backs of that, as well as the backs of Infinity War and Endgame. And it's presented with Shuri having to cope with being the new protector of Wakanda. That's not a spoiler. If you thought anybody else but Shuri was in that costume, you were lying to yourself.
Come on, like you know, just be real with yourself.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Hey, you know what? Ryan Coogler did his thing.
Yes, he did.
Ryan Coogler did his thing with this movie. The movie, it is a bit long, not as long as the Batman, but you know what?
It doesn't drag like the Batman.
It
does.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't drag. The pacing of it was very much on point.
As a matter of fact, as far as all the rest of the movies that we listed, as far as all the rest of the movies that we mentioned, this one didn't suffer from any of those flaws. Every flaw that any of those movies had, this one kind of made up for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, the story was really there and well thought out. Let's talk about the hands for a moment. Spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular. I mean, where do you want to start with that? I mean, we got Okoye versus
That boy Namor was an issue, dude.
he was, but I mean, Okoye versus Atuma rounds 1 and 2, and yeah, Namor was Mr. Big Problem.
Yeah.
He really was Mr. Big Problem. I really don't know if we've seen a more personal, vicious, one-on-one fight scene, in a long time in the MCU, like we saw with Shuri versus Namor at the end.
No. Oh, she sure did cut off his little duck wing, bro.
Oh man, she so set up real quick.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going for it.
Real quick. Hey, that is a whole different kind of wing stop.
Yeah.
That is a whole different kind of wing stop.
Soundtrack was dope in this. The story, especially with what they had to work with. Those some parts predictable because of that. Still, the story didn't suffer from what some of the other movies this year suffered from, as far as story is concerned.
And I mean, it tackled some big things. I mean, a lot of big, philosophical concepts are being wrestled with here. A lot of emotions and feelings are going down in this movie. So you had all those situations come together in a way that makes this movie just feel, it's so very complete. That's really the best way I can describe it. Oh, and how could I even forget about how much of a good job they did with introducing Riri Williams, aka Ironheart.
Introducing so much, like Namor and the Atlanteans, the Talocanians, Riri Williams, T'Challa's son, the Midnight Angels, Aneka herself. I mean, like, they did a good job of introducing a lot of folks in this movie. One thing, though, Angela Bassett did a good job, but this ain't where she needed her Oscar from. She deserved the Oscar way before any Marvel.
And we all know this.
Yeah. Sorry, I just felt the need to say that because y'all kept saying, like, give Angela her Oscar, not for Black. You better give her a retroactive one for everything else. Better change the rules.
What else can we say about the movie, though, is at the end of the day, Wakanda is still reigning supreme over the MCU, honestly. Mm-hmm. And moving forward, I don't know what kind of plans they have or what Feige's thinking, but they need to keep Ryan Coogler. Coogler needs to be put on some other.
I heard this was a rumor that I heard scrolling Instagram, which means that it's probably not true.
But it also could be.
But I heard that Coogler is getting Kang Dynasty and/or Secret Wars.
Sounds good. That sounds like a wise move. Sounds like a wise move.
He really knows how to make a movie with hands in it.
Right. He can make a movie with hands in it. And he knows how to build things pretty well.
Jordan Peele might get Black Panther 3.
Hey, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it at all.
I'm gonna watch it.
I really appreciated getting to see Wakanda Forever kind of closing out the year.
Yeah.
The year as a whole, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna echo it. It was pretty good. It was not fantastic. It wasn't amazing.
Better ones.
Right. We've had more fire years.
16, 17 was some shit in the movie, boy.
Yeah, but overall, we were not let down, and I gotta say, I'm not even really thinking about all the stuff that I didn't like too much about these movies in 2022 anymore, because I'm looking forward to the absolute buffet that is about to be 2023 at the movies.
Maybe we'll see the Flash movie. Maybe. But whatever goes down then, we're going to be around. And what's first, Ant-Man?
Yeah, Quantumania.
Yeah. Kang is going to beat the hell out of them, dude.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Whatever does end up unfolding or unraveling when 2023 comes around, we'll be around to talk about it more this time here and all the other usual social media formats. But until the next video, I'm Caleb. That's Ping over there. The Academy is back, but for now we're dismissed.